Hello, hello, hello. How's it going? It's Tiger Stripe again. And today we are going to be hunting the Eidolon Teralyst. So I asked in a previous video for how to farm for sentient cores through Eidolon Vomvalysts, if that's something that you all would like to see. So I figured, you know what? I would give it a shot. It's not going to end well, but let's give it a chance. And this video should show you why you shouldn't be tackling the Eidolon Teralyst too soon. So everything's going to be the same. The mode amp, ungilded, no arcanes. Our focus tree is going to be the same. We're utilizing Xeneric, energizing dash, energy pulse, and we don't have any other active unbound abilities. So same thing said for our baby vault, as well as the rest of our weapons. The build is going to be exactly the same as you saw it in the previous video. Now this isn't going to be easy by no means because the amp that we're using is going to be very bad. It is very bad. So don't think we're going to have that great of a time here. So let's go on out to the Plains of Eidolon and try to make something happen. Alrighty, so we're here. Sounds like the Teralyst is going to spawn over to our right. Let's just go on over and add a waypoint.
Sentient energy spike in your area. I advise you to be careful.
There we go. Alrighty, so in the last video, I told you all about something known as an Eidolon Lure charge that dropped from Eidolon Vomvalysts. Now, this is actually where those charges are going to come into play. And I'm going to just show you the basics on how to kill the Teralyst. Even if we don't get to kill it, at least you'll be able to identify different phases of retaliation, as well as what to do.
Draw energy from Vomvalysts. Make use of them.
Alright, so we have one individual just having fun. So the Eidolon Lure is not ours just yet because it is active as a Grineer lure. Or it's an Eidolon Lure, but it looks pretty Grineer to me. Maybe the Grineer manufactured it. I don't know the lore behind that. The lore behind the lure. Anyway, in order to make this an ally, what we need to do is we need to whittle down the health. And again, new player experience, this might be very difficult to have to bring down. Keep at it.
Next, you attempt to take control of it.
Now, by taking control of it, what Quilluncle mean is hacking it. So now it is officially our lure. And in order to capture the Eidolon Teralyst, we need 2 of those. All of these lures can be found around Grineer camps. So let's go ahead and take this one. The exact same thing is going to happen here as well. And now what we do is we make our way towards the Eidolon Teralyst. Along the way, if we happen to see some Vomvalysts, that's even better. But if you don't, that's okay. Because Eidolon Vomvalysts usually spawn around the Teralyst as we continue to fight. But I feel like I recall seeing some over here. So let's see if we can locate them. Ah, yes. All right, here we go. Now again, keep in mind, we're going to utilize our primary weapon to break down that outer shell. We're going to have to do it. So what just happened was we charged the Eidolon Lure, and it looks like that there's a bug where we can't see which lure it went into because the antenna should be lit. So we did place it in there. Now, another thing that I would like to point out is when the Eidolon Vomvalyst is connected to a lure, what's going to happen is the lure will just suction it up. So it's just a visual bug. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you that the lure is charged, but this antenna will be lit orange, letting you know that there's a charge inside of the lure. And when all three are lit, what's going to happen is it's going to turn blue. So let's go on over to the Teralyst. Again, as we continue to fight the Teralyst, Vomvalyst will spawn. So we're okay in that regard. Now, before we really kick off anything with the Eidolon Teralyst, I want you all to try to understand what's going on. Now, the Eidolon Teralyst, the health bar for it is grayed out, which means it is invulnerable to absolutely everything. There's nothing that we're able to do here. We can't shoot any of the joints, which you see on the knees and above the elbows. We can't shoot the face. We can't do anything. But you'll notice as we continue to attack the Teralyst, it's retaliating. So it's launching up this bubble, dealing damage to everything that we have and that we are. So Volt, if I stand still, will receive that damage as well as the lure. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and grab the charge, take it right to our lure. There we go. Let's go ahead and grab this one too. That's connected to it, so the problem with it is the Vomvalyst will end up getting sucked into that one, so we'll let that one go. But back to the Eidolon Teralyst. So, in order to deal damage to the Eidolon Teralyst, what's going to happen is we need to go into operator mode. And when we enter operator mode, what's happening is we're able to see the sentient overshield that the Eidolon Teralyst have. Let's go ahead and just... The Teralyst is retaliating, and I'm dealing with Vomvalyst right now. There we go. Now, this overshield, or this shield rather, the sentient shield can only be depleted by utilizing the void damage from the operator amp. And in this case, the moat amp that we have as a brand new player. Now, again, keep in mind this is going to be very bad because it is a starter amp and it isn't meant to deal that much damage. In order to mitigate a lot of the damage that you will receive, it's best to go into void mode. Another form of retaliation here from the Teralyst. Vomvalysts are starting to stack up. Those will start to hurt, but it's very difficult to have to deal with the Teralyst and Vomvalysts at the same time. So you have to pick your poison. Which one are we here for? Either way, we're going to die to both. The more these stack up, the more they'll hurt us. We'll end up losing our lures. As you can see that they're taking damage. Another form of retaliation. All we do is simply jump over it. This is absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. But hopefully this is showing you why you wouldn't want to do this fight. You're simply not ready for this just yet. The best way to deal with the Teralyst is to try to use it as a form of farming for Eidolon Vomvalysts, because by dealing damage to the Eidolon Teralyst, it's screaming for assistance from those Vomvalysts. But you have to manage how often the Teralyst is retaliating and being able to go into void mode, dealing damage to those Eidolon Vomvalysts, and grabbing what we're here for. Just going to go ahead and jump over that again. The retaliation methods, end up becoming very redundant. But the more you deal with them, the easier it is to identify which retaliation method the Teralyst is going to use next. So this is going to be a strike and away formation. There we go. We're not even halfway there yet, folks, and we are slowly trudging through it. Now this orange reddish kind of scream, what that's doing is it's buffing the damage from the Eidolon Vomvalyst. So not only are they stacking up, the damage is stacking up, which means it's going to hurt like hell. So when you see that happen, even once you're midway through as a player, you really want to clear that up. It's very important to clear that up because you will not be able to do much of anything. But I'm going to try my best to continue depleting at least the shield so that you can see how long it takes. Uh-oh. I think we got pretty far, given the fact that we were kicked all the way back here. Alrighty, it looks like we've lost one lure. Alrighty, so there is another method here. As a vault, you can put your shield up. You can deal additional damage through it by utilizing your mode amp. But it's not going to make that big of a difference here, since our mode amp is already terrible. Chasing down the Teralyst. I could not imagine doing this. I don't think I even did this. And if I did, I had other players helping me through it, but this is at least for you solo players who just if you're adamant about doing this alone, here you go. I'm doing it with you. Oh, we do have our lure. Barely. But it's here. Void mode again. Alrighty. Oh my goodness. He's leading us to a camp. We don't need this. So many Vomvalysts. Again, if you can manage this and not die, then this is a really good farm. I just chose not to show this method in case, you know, a new player isn't that coordinated for doing it, but this is a really nice farm. Rather than going around and looking for those Vomvalysts, you can just do it this way. And my lure's gonna die soon. F's in the comments for the lure. Oh no. Again, when you see the orange reddish scream, you can hear the reaction from those Vomvalysts. They're pretty hype. That is death right there. Oh my goodness. This is absolutely horrible. It looks like they're shooting... I don't know what they're shooting at if I'm invisible. Alright, so they lost the buff. They're still going to hurt. It's so many of them. So close. This is already taking 15 minutes. And we're still on the first shield. We haven't popped one joint. Alrighty, let's see. It's got to make some form of a difference. It's better than nothing, right? Alrighty. We are so close. Shockwave damage dealing. Stagger. We don't want to be in the middle of that. We are so close. I'd imagine for a new player, if you can at least get to this, that right there is that is a W. The only problem is we've lost all of our lures. There we go. Now when you see the Teralyst do that, that's when you're able to shoot one of the Synovia joints, which you can find 2 on its knees and 2 above its elbows. And this is where we can start dealing damage from our weapons. This is going to take quite some time. Not only do we have so many Vomvalysts stacked up, it's going to take a while. There we go. Let's get some extra damage going there. Worst case scenario, it could scream blue, which is going to it's going to request for those Vomvalysts that are around him to grant sentient shield back to it. Alright, now this is where farming those joints are helpful because you get to pick up exceptional sentient cores and not just those intact sentient cores. Now, that wave is dealing magnetic damage, and it will also proc magnetic on everything within that radius. And you don't want to be near that. Now, unfortunately, we're leaving all of the Vomvalysts behind, which is horrible for us because that is great farm for a new player. But another thing happened that I haven't mentioned just yet, and what ended up happening was we didn't have a lure to lock down the Eidolon Teralyst so that we can continue to fight it. I can hear him. There it is. So what ended up happening was it moved. So when you don't have any of those lures in place, it will just keep moving. And the locations you can usually find are near the water's edge. So it can spawn there, can spawn here, can spawn there. Anywhere that there is water, the Eidolons can spawn. But since we already took down one joint, what's going to happen is now we rinse and repeat. But we aren't going to be doing that as a new player. I think we've reached a point where we realize now that we shouldn't be taking on the Eidolon Teralyst. So hopefully this video was of some use. Hopefully it helped you understand a little bit more on perhaps how to farm for Eidolon Vomvalyst, if that's within your area of being able to do so, being able to farm it efficiently. If not, stay away. Keep the farm as low as possible without having to deal with the Teralyst, because for a new player, that fight is a lot more frustrating than it should be. It's okay to just go on around, farm up those Vomvalysts, and wait until you can get a new amp. Which, if you'd like to see that video, I can do one from more of a mid-player range perspective if you'd like. But that's all for now. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next one.